Hello traders, Gary Wagner here just before 11 o'clock in Honolulu, 5 o'clock in New York. It is Thursday, 20th day of April, 2017, and this is the Daily Report for Gold and Silver. Mixed bag in the precious metals markets with sharp surges in both platinum and palladium, gold trading in essence unchanged, and silver trading under pressure. This while the U.S. equity market continues to rage with the NASDAQ closing at a new all-time record high. First to gold, we are looking at fractionally lower pricing, down 20 cents on the day, 1283.20. Low on the day is 1278, and we certainly want to touch upon that when we bring up our first chart. The high today, 1285.20, and we've closed just about $2 shy of the high on the day. Over to spot pricing. A spot is currently trading up almost $2 on the day at 1281. When we look at silver, silver was the one precious metal under some strong pressure today, closing off about 16 cents on the day, but managing to hold on to that elusive $18 an ounce. And spot silver doing much of the same, closing above $18 per ounce, fractionally unchanged in terms of spot, down 10 cents. So traders, absolutely no doubt a quite interesting day in the precious metals markets, raging platinum and palladium, time permitting. I do want to pull up a chart on that, but first I do need to cover our current trade. If you recall from yesterday, we had just moved our stop up earlier in the week. It was sitting below, I believe, 1260. We moved it to just below 1280. In fact, what I put was 1278, 1279 to put it below there. The low today was 1278. So I imagine that some of our subscribers pulled profits as a stop got hit, and some may actually still be long in the market. For the record, we will mark ourselves out with a small profit, but please, traders, if you could email me personally and let me know if you pulled profits or if you are still long gold positions, I can have an idea of the percentages in terms of our subscriber base that are sitting in certain positions so we can act accordingly in terms of our advice. Given the current economic environment and the strong equities base that is certainly seen market participants move into, or back to, I should say, a risk-on environment, we are not seeing the kind of typical sell-off that we would see in a safe haven asset such as gold. Obviously, market participants are still concerned and worried about geopolitical events that are over in North Korea, as well as things heating up or rhetoric heating up with Iran and the United States also. At the same time, we have an election this weekend in France, and we have the current Brexit move taking place over in Britain. So because of those factors, I believe we're seeing gold prices hold fairly steady. As I said, today in essence closing unchanged, but what we really want to look at is whether or not gold is able to break above the current resistance, and it is a very, very long-standing resistance line that we have drawn from the top when the market was trading at 1900, the all-time historical record highs, and then just moving through these different highs. And we've talked about this really for the last couple of days. Now, we do have a market consolidating. We have not seen the market challenge this particular trend line here. We have seen a couple of lower lows, but nonetheless, the market has been steadily trading above, call it 1280, 1275. I still believe we've got extremely a strong support in the market, which sits at 1260, and we haven't really even come close and tested that area. But my sense is that we will probably see this market make a play for this resistance line and take it out. If we get further consolidation and if geopolitical tensions basically subside, we could see the market track back to 1260, but I don't see any kind of retracement that takes gold prices lower than that price point. Traders, for those that have been stopped out, I will signal you when it is time to re-enter the market. And as I said, by sending me an email, for those that are still in the market, we can effectively raise stops. We'll work at both sides of the fence for this particular trade. In other markets that we look at, As I said, a raging U.S. equities markets with the Dow Jones Industrial Average closing up about 175 points today. At its high, it was up over 200 points, closing at 20,578. The high of the day well above 20,600. 20,629 was the actual high. Net change about 0.8%. When we look at the Standard & Poor's, very respectable gain, up about 0.8%, closing at 2355. But the star of equities today, without a question of a doubt, was the NASDAQ index, closing up 55 points higher at 5918. We'll certainly want to take a look at a NASDAQ chart in the trending markets, a component of today's report. But this is, traders, a new all-time record high. Over to the dollar. Dollar really fractionally unchanged. 99.70 is where we currently sit. And as far as we know, the same goes for crude oil. Crude oil trading roughly 17 cents lower, a net loss of about 1/3%, which is nothing in terms of percentage gain. Crude oil closing at 50.27. Absolutely brilliant upside move in that tech-heavy laden index, the NASDAQ Composite. 59.18 looks to be where the market settled. That's up 55 points, a net change of about a full percentage. Now, in terms of a record high, we have seen the NASDAQ trade to a higher high than we had today, and we did not, however, ever see the NASDAQ close at this level, because the days that it in fact made a higher high here, you can see where it closed, it's a red candle, and this other particular area here, it closed way down here at 5,800. These two tops here, of course, are about equal, but the closes are actually below this current print. So brilliant performance in the NASDAQ, closing at a new all-time record close. One of the more interesting aspects of today's trading activity in the precious metals markets was that extreme upside surge in both platinum as well as palladium. Platinum closing up 1.2% on the day, a net gain of about $11, closing at $981 per ounce. When we look at palladium, palladium closed $27 higher. So we saw roughly a double size move compared to platinum. And palladium closed at 802.75. So we do have these two markets, platinum and palladium, moving closer together. And in fact, we might see them trade in parity. There might in fact be a day when palladium is worth more than platinum, which is a very interesting take, considering that years ago, whether it's 20 years ago or 15, even 30 years ago, the difference between those two precious metals was extreme, with palladium trading in the $100, $120 area and platinum trading at a premium above gold pricing. We certainly do not see that anymore, and this is a interesting dynamic change in the relationship between palladium and platinum pricing. So in closing, the fact that the low today was 1278, right at the point where we place stops, we do have some of our subscribers still in the market as well as some out. By sending me an email, I'll be able to know what percentage that is, and as I said, act accordingly. For those that are long, maintain your current long position, maintain your current stop. For those that pull profits, we will notify you via SMS text alert as long as you've signed up for that free service, and email with a special trade alert letting you know our next move. This has been Gary Wagner wishing you, as always, good trading. We will talk to you tomorrow for the weekly wrap-up and update and review. Bye-bye.